Hi everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to another episode of You Can Do It. I'm your host, Nataly Restokian. And guess what? I want to tell you today that life is always great. It is our perspective which is not great. Your mind is your enemy as long as you are in a dreaming phase. Don't let your mind delimit your dreams. Well, these are ideas and these are inspirations that would just remind you that there are so many amazing and brilliant coaches out there, just like Mohsen Zargaran, the coach that is today with us, who wrote all these inspirations, not because he read them somewhere, but because he had been so much through his life, from a seasoned business manager leading many teams, multinational companies such as Siemens, Nokia, Samsung, and experienced all of the stresses and real world pressures. And in his personal life, he went through a painful experience that eventually led him to a spiritual awakening in his 30s, a good age. Well, when we talk about the 30s, that I'm not 30 anymore, I'm over it a long time ago. I'm sure that he's smiling now and I can see him. So I'm looking at the camera, I can check and he's smiling. But it's very amazing when you see a coach like Mohsen, who had been so much in his life, stressful, hopeless life. But today he is leading a happy, a peaceful, and a passionate one. He'd love to share his experience with others. And his aim, his goal is to see everybody living happily without fear, without stress. And when I was talking to him earlier, he said to me, I'm going to give you recipes. I said, oh, recipes? But I cannot cook everything. You have to help me with that. He's like, wait, right? Didn't you say like that? It wasn't about food, right, Mohsen? So welcome you to our show. How are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me, Nataly.
My
How are you doing?
pleasure. How are you,
Okay,
Mohsen?
well, yeah, you talked about the recipes, but just let's make it clear. It's not about food, so it's gonna be about success and about life.
Exactly.
But before I jump into the recipes, let me tell you a story.
Go
A
ahead.
story about two brothers. 12 and 10 years old. They were living in a town with their mother, and they didn't have anybody else in the town. Their mother was working to make a living for them, and she was sick actually. And one day she learned that she wouldn't live for more than 2 months. She got stressed and desperate. Every night she was praying and asking God for help. So finally, one day, she decided to tell her sons the truth. She called them and told them the bitter truth, and then asked them one thing. She asked them, do only one thing, go and find a job in 2 months, because you have to be able to survive after me. At that moment, two different images formed in the minds of two boys. The younger son, one image, and the older son, another image. The image that was formed in the mind of the older son was, oh, I'm gonna go find a job and I'm gonna support my younger brother. I'm not gonna let my mother down. And it was a great idea and a very good willpower. But in the minds of the younger brother was a little bit different image. Let's cut the story here and fast forward the story for 10 years. 10 years later, two brothers were sitting in the same room and were talking to their mother. Yeah, their mother still was alive.
That's
And
a funny question.
the younger brother just remembered the day 10 years back, their mother was talking to them about her death. And you know, the image was formed in his mind at that moment. It was, they were, three of them actually are sitting in the same room and talking to each other 10 years later. He imagined and he pictured in his mind. And that imagination came true 10 years later. And this is the difference between our imaginations, between our how we think, how we form our dreams. The younger brother didn't want to, actually circumstances to bring him his knees. He want to be strong, he want to stand up and change the situation. He finally went and talked to the doctor and find out that if her mother actually go through a very expensive surgery, she will survive. And then he raised money and her mother actually did the operation and then get better and live for several years. So I want to actually, I told this story to let you know that a very, very important part of our success is due to our power of imagination, the dreaming power. How can we live ahead of time? If we cannot live ahead of time, we can change the reality. We can bend the reality. And this is the only tool that we have in our hands is our imagination, because the imagination is a different world. Our world is one world, and imagination world is another, is a parallel world, actually, a parallel world, a different world. And when you imagine something, you're actually make a reality in another world. And that reality will come true in this world after a while, because the whole universe will help you to make this happen. And this is the power of imagination.
Wow. So we're talking about recipes of success, but I'm just understanding in a way that you're not analyzing it like we have to convince ourselves. And it's not magic. It's like somehow it's science, or the way we think. It controls our reality, the imagination. Is that what I'm hearing? Because I'm sure like the audience would say, okay, I will sit down and imagine. How does it work? How can you just make it work? How can we just simplify to our audience, like, you can be happy if you imagine what you want to have, right?
Yeah. Okay. If I want to go to the scientific part, I think, first of all, it's not my expertise. And second of all, it's not going to work. I mean, it doesn't matter. What matters is this works. So because there are lots of examples. One of the examples is sitting here. I am one of the examples that I imagine and I reach to my goals. So, but I don't want to stop here. I have something to add to this imagination. I will let you know later on. But the thing is, when you want to do something, for example, to run a business, to start a business, to write a book, to, I don't know, to go to job interview.
I love that, write a book. I love that.
Okay, so okay, if you love this example, let's go with this example. Okay, suppose that you want to write a book, and then you actually are imagining, because imagination technique is not a new technique. It's a technique that many people are talking about that, and maybe most of people know about this technique. So this is not a new technique. What I want to tell you is that it's a little bit different. When you want to write a book, you imagine that you have written that book and you finally nail it and publish it. And now you are a very good writer. You finished that goal. You've reached that goal. But what you have not imagined, what you have not dreamed about is after writing the book. 10 years after you have written that book, what's going to happen? That is the most important part that we normally ignore. This is very, very critical. And this is the game changer, because when you think about 10 years after a goal is going to happen, This is something that will change everything. If you're here and your goal is here, normally we used to imagine this point of time. Imagine that, okay, I'm in my dream car. I have written my
Yeah.
dream book. But we never imagine here, which is 10 years or 5 years after this goal actually has been materialized. We have to be able to imagine and to dream way beyond our goals. And this is living ahead of time. Because if you stop yourself here, your limit will be here. You won't be able to go further unless you reach to this point and then imagine something else. But from here, you can imagine this point, and then I'm gonna bet you that this goal will happen much different when you imagine here.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you imagine here, actually you are paving the road to reach here, and this is only a milestone during the road, not the last goal. So the recipe actually is imagine way beyond your goals.
Okay, let's say I come to you and you're a coach, and I say, Mohsen, for example, when I wrote my book, I was like, everybody like, okay, you wrote Mask. I said, my book is going to be a movie. And I was still writing. I didn't even have
Yeah.
the words. And then I got 2 words. And I'm saying, and I insisted, I did the deal with Amazon for the audiobook. And I insisted, I said, it's going to be a movie. I'm looking ahead of time, and I'm even imagining how it's going to be the actress, the cast. But I didn't know these recipes, you know. Now I can feel that, oh, I'm on the right track. But let's say I am a sad person in life, okay? Let's say I am a very sad person, and my life, I have a lot of trouble, maybe family-wise, financial-wise, or anything. And I come to Mohsen and I say, you know what, Mohsen, as a coach, I am sad. I'm not happy. So how will you just solve this problem? Can it be solved without knowing what is the reason of unhappiness? Can you lead this person? Because I'm just talking like randomly about our audience, because I'm sure that each and every one who is watching us out there might have a dream, a goal, a problem, a pain, or something they want to do. I mean, it might be a negative thing or a positive thing, or even they would not know what to do. So, as Mohsen, the coach who had achieved so much, as a Canadian coach, Mohsen Zargaran, how can you advise people who are sad and give them the recipe of success for being happy without knowing the main core? Can you do that, or you have to go to the core itself of the reason?
It's not really, to be honest with you, it's not always necessary to go deep into the root causes.
Oh,
However, sometimes it's necessary, but not always. The first question I normally ask people in this situation is, what is your goal? Where do you want to reach? If the answer is clear, then there's a way to go. Because when the answer, for example, the answer is, I want to be happy. I want to live a peaceful and happy life. So it means that there is a goal apart from the problems, apart from the root causes. This is really valuable. If they don't know where they want to go, then there's a problem. So the first question is, what is your goal and where is your destination? And then work on that and beyond that. So going beyond that goal, and then give this motivation and energy and power of imagination to reach not only to the first goal, but to the 10 years and 20 years later and after that goal. Goal. So this root cause analysis, or going deep into the problem, is not always the solution, because most of the time the people really don't know what is the underlying problem. They don't understand the root causes. They know the symptoms, but they don't know what is really the root. And if you try to go deeper and find out the root causes, it might mislead you. and you end up with something which is completely irrelevant. So,
For example, give me an example. If somebody came to you and they're lost, I mean, how can they, you just realize that they're lost because they would say, I don't know, or maybe they want to be happy, but they don't know how to work on that goal. I mean, isn't it hard? I mean, imagine, I mean, if somebody is sad to work on a goal to become happy and imagining being happy, if they're so down, I mean, they should have willpower, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm talking on the behalf of the audience. They might say, okay, all right, I'm imagining to be happy. It, but isn't it hard?
okay, let me give you another story. Actually, a
Yeah.
very fascinating
Go ahead.
story.
I love stories.
Yeah, you know, the case that you just mentioned was about someone who is uh, who who doesn't want to believe that he or she could be happier than this. And this is a problem that is about the dreaming limit or the ceiling, a ceiling problem.
Wow,
So
I
let me
love it.
give you,
So,
okay, tell you a story about that first, and then it will be more
okay,
illustrative.
go ahead.
There's a story about a very young elephant in a circus. And this very young elephant, the owner of the circus, bounded the leg of this young elephant to a pole with a rope. And this young elephant tried several times to get rid of this rope and run away. But he couldn't. Actually, it was not able to get itself free of this rope because the elephant was small, was young, and was not able actually to tear up the rope. After several years, this belief rooted into his mind that where this pole and this rope is much stronger than me, and I cannot break up this tie. Even when the elephant was actually an adult elephant, a very big one, and the pole was very small, because of this belief that in his mind, and because of this uh, limit or ceiling in the mind, it couldn't actually reveal himself from this rope, from this pole, because his mind was telling him that, hey, this is your limitation. This is your ceiling. You cannot live beyond this limitation. Don't even try. And this ceiling was so deeply rooted in his mind. This is a problem that many of us actually have. We think that, oh, I'm 50 years old. I cannot be a stardom in a movie. I'm too old. I cannot start a business, or I'm too young. I cannot have a I don't know a home for myself, or I am too weak. I cannot go and, for example, I don't know, join the army, or whatever the dream they might have. One of my friends actually was telling me that I had a dream to become a pilot, but I forgot that dream because I'm old for becoming a pilot. I told him, why? You're not that much old. He says, no, it's a very long process, and the procedure is not something overnight, and I told him, just think more. Is there any way, is there any even a tiny way that you can become a pilot? Then he started to thinking that,
How old was he?
oh, 38, I think.
Oh,
And
impressive.
then he came up with something. Oh yeah, if I have an airline myself, I can be the pilot because the owner of the airline is setting the rules. So I can actually establish an airline myself. And then he came up. I was so motivated and then excited about this idea, and then started to search about how an airline can be registered and this kind of thing. So I mean that when you think there is a limitation, you never try some alternative ways. But
Did
when
he
you,
become a pilot? Did he get what he wanted?
to be honest with you, I didn't see him for several years. I have to find him and talk to him again. But I hope so. I hope that actually.
It's
I know.
excited, maybe, because you're just giving this hope and
Yeah.
this enthusiasm to people
Yeah.
that they can do better. Because I love the word when you said you think that you cannot be happier, and our audience, they should know that they can be happier. But everybody's out there just nagging, like, oh, it's like, okay, I'm happy because I choose to be happy, right? You're happy because you choose to be happy, or vice versa. So it's a beautiful recipe. But when it comes to happiness, you're saying that to imagine to be happier. Let's say you're happy now. How can you imagine to be happier? Let's say in your personal life.
I think it's
Give
not
me a
difficult.
recipe. Is
Yeah,
it
I mean,
spicy
uh
recipe? Is it going to be spicy recipe for being happier in personal life?
okay.
Hard.
First of all, yeah, it's possible, but I mean, it's not only one recipe or one thing that can make you happy. There are lots of things. For example, the most important thing is have a balance in your life. Being balanced and living a balanced life maybe is the most important uh, 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 building blocks of happiness.
What
So
is a balanced life? What do you mean when you say a balanced life?
uh, by 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 being balanced or living a balanced life, I mean to have a normalized aspects of your life. If anyhow, all of us are playing different roles. We
Hmm.
are, for example, I am a father, I am a employee, I am a citizen, I am a human being, I am a brother. So as this role, I have to be able to manage these roles first. Second, I have a body. I have to manage my body. I have to live healthy, have enough sleep, have good foods, avoid unnecessary stresses, doing exercise, and so on and so forth. I have a mind. I have to take care of mind as well. I have to make sure that uh, I'm reading books, I'm thinking, I'm trying to use this mind, and the muscles are working. On the other side, I have a soul, and I need to uh, take care of my soul as well. And the most important point is our soul is the center of gravity. The center of gravity of human beings is their soul. So the soul is the most important part of our entity. We have to take care of that. And okay, I will let you know a recipe, small recipe about taking care of soul as well.
I was just going to ask you, like, soul, soul, soul. I'm waiting, and then you just said
Yeah,
that.
yeah, okay. And okay, so it was mind, soul, our friends and family, and our
Body.
social life, our body, and then our the money and the income we need to make a living. So
Hmm.
most of us are so obsessed and so busy with this money part, with this working, with our jobs. But this is only part of our life. It's not the whole life. So when we lose this balance, we are not happy,
Hmm.
and as simple as that. So okay, let me now
Soul,
go to the
soul.
next recipe and about soul. Yeah. Uh, Honestly, I didn't want to directly connect this concept with soul, but now
It
okay, the
happened. It
question,
happened.
yeah,
It
goes this
happened.
way, and why not? The next recipe is prayer, and by prayer, don't misunderstand. By prayer, I mean ask your higher power. Who is higher power? I don't know. It's your higher power. It could be God. It could be Buddha. It could be Allah. It could be Jesus.
But
It could
maybe
be your.
somebody is like, they don't believe in a religion.
Yeah,
What do
yeah.
they
For
do then?
non-believers, even for non-believers, maybe their higher self is their higher power. Anyhow, all people, believers or non-believers, believe in a sort of higher power, and that
Uh,
higher power could be their higher self.
Yeah, like the universe, or they say this energy, or
universe, or whatever, or the laws of the
they change
universe.
the words, right? But
Yeah,
the thing is, the idea the same. That's what you mean.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it is not a religious thing. It is
yeah.
it is not a religious thing. It is a universal concept. So
Mm.
asking your higher power is a fact, or a concept that can help you to reach your goals and to reach beyond your goals. And this is the thing that most of the time, I mean, the coaches or speakers are not talking about it. I don't know why. Maybe they don't want to uh, uh, be perceived as a religious guy, or they don't want to. I don't know. I really don't want to go that direction. But many people uh, deeply inside believe in this, and but they don't reveal this. And it is a very important secret. So when you ask your higher power, actually you are doing this imagination being happen in another world. Because I talked about our world, our imagination world, and now I want to talk about the prayer world. There is another world also, that if you pray, your power will be multiplied by, I don't know, 1 million times more. You will be much stronger when you pray.
So you're talking about the power of words when you hear them and you believe in them. So your imagination will be stronger, right? This is how you're just making connection about your world, imaginative word, and the higher power. Or am I
Yeah,
getting it wrong? Is it right?
no, it's correct. Actually, if I want to summarize these two recipes that I just told you, let's get back to this book example that you just mentioned. I want to write a book. I imagine just finishing the book. Okay, this is not the best case. The great actually way is to imagine 10 years later. For example, as you mentioned, when the book is a movie,
Ah,
then before
I
even
told
you
you I'm looking
start,
for it. See, it's going to be a movie. It's
oh,
it, right?
good. Very, very good. Okay, I'm really happy for you.
Thank you,
Congratulations,
Mohsen. You're
congratulations,
so sweet.
Kelly. It's really good. Okay,
Thank
but uh, I was talking about what? Okay, yeah. So you
you.
want to write a book? Don't imagine about just finishing the book. Imagine about 10 years later or 5 years later when the book is a movie or whatever thing that you want to happen afterwards. Then before even you start about thinking about the book, before even you start thinking about the topic, before anything, in phase zero, in the pre-planning phase, do meditation, sit and ask your higher power, help me. I want to write a book. I want to reach this goal, and beyond this goal, I want this book to be a movie. You help me. You give me idea. And then this will help you to come up with a brilliant idea. People who even you don't know them will come to you to help you. People even you have never seen them will come up out of the blue and will come to help you. And this is something that cannot be, uh, uh, let's say,
Explain.
explained. Yeah, explained. Thank you for the word.
No,
In
pleasure.
in I mean normal ways in scientific world, in normal equations or math. It's something that's really strange, and I experienced that, and many other people also experienced that. But okay, it couldn't be proved unless someone experienced it by his own or her own. And this is the only way that someone can experience this thing. So the second recipe, which is really important, is asking your higher power when you want to do something, when you want to even going to exam, I don't know, going to a job interview, or writing a book, or I don't know, whatever you want to do. Do the prayer and imagine way beyond that goal. And you will receive unbelievable results. Unbelievable results.
So we're talking about the two. The first one is imagination, and the second one is asking the higher power. And for Mohsen, as a
Yeah.
coach, he advises and inspires people that it can be done in any way we see the higher power, and it's meditation itself. And my last question, because it's amazing talking to you a lot, but we still have to give a tip to our audience, of course, that what they can do. I want to ask you a question which is like a little bit like not worrying me, but I think that the audience will want to know too. The imagination part, does it have to be between you and your own mind and soul, or you can just talk even if people are like, what is she saying, what is he saying? Do you have to have the strength and the courage to talk about it out loud in front of people as a challenge, or it's between you and yourself?
Honestly, yeah, on this part, I do not agree to actually express this imagination everywhere and disclose it to everyone. You can't. The most important part is to do it with yourself, your mind, and higher power, and that's it. And in the next step, you can also share with a beloved one. For example, your partner. If you have 100% trust, and if is very important, if you and your partner have shared goals. If you have shared goals, if your targets is her or his targets, that's okay. If he or she will be against your target, it will weaken your target and your goal. So try not to spread your imagination, and only tell and share with people who are in the same boat, who has the same goal and target with you. Otherwise, this will be weakened.
Because sometimes maybe, I mean, your partner or someone you love will not share the goal, but they will not be against it. They will just embrace it, you know, they will just encourage you in their own way. Is it okay then?
Yeah, it's okay. It's perfectly okay.
My husband, for example, whatever I say, I love this guy, but he's like, I want to do this. Like, oh, that's great for you. He's not, we don't share the same goal, but we share this connection of love that we encourage each other. But anyway, I cannot be with someone who has the same goals as me. I'm like very competitive with myself.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as his goals and targets are not against yours,
I love the idea.
His imagination is not blocking your imagination, that's okay. But you don't know other people in this world. You don't know. You talk to your friend, and you don't know what is going on in her mind, and maybe she gets unhappy when hear about your imagination or your goal or your targets, and this will block. They will make some blockage actually for.
So you believe in that? So you believe that sometimes people say, "You're gonna jinx it. Don't say it. You're gonna jinx it." So you believe in it, that people who are negative, they might just bring this negative thing to your life. So that's why we should be careful.
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
amazing.
It is important. It's really important.
So amazing. I mean, sharing all these ideas and these 2 recipes of success, they are so easy, but yet so hard if you don't know how to do it. So guys, now you know, if you want the recipes, where to go and how to contact Mohsen. And before saying goodbye, we would like to say that if Mohsen can do it, then you guys can do it. And would like to ask Coach Mohsen Zargaran today to give you guys the tip of the day. Please, Mohsen, go ahead.
Well, I think it's very simple. Do 3 things. First, imagine way beyond your goals. 2, ask for higher power. And 3, repeat the first 2 steps. That's it.
Wow, thank you so much. And I'm going also, of course, put below the video his website. And if you have any comments and you have any questions, you can contact him. Thank you so much for being with us today, all the way from British Columbia, Canada. Our regards from here today. You're so far from us, yet we can be connected by Zoom. And we wish you the best of luck. And we are so happy and such a pleasure to have you on our show, Mohsen.
All pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me, and have a nice week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.